What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Dave, also known as Loving Them Trains, and I'm back with my preparation for the Piedmont Pilgrimage. The Piedmont Pilgrimage is an NMRA sponsored event that happens annually, and it showcases some of the model railroad layouts in the Atlanta metropolitan area as well as north of Georgia, and I've been honored to be on it for several years now. So I will again be on it this year. So in preparation for that, I set some goals to accomplish before that event happens, or at least get started. So I have about 4 weeks to go before the event. So I'm going to go ahead and get some projects going and see how far I can get. Now, obviously, the goal is not to get the entire layout done, but just a few projects that have been lingering. So what you are looking at now is an area of my layout that I call the cut. And though you can see back there as a spectator, you can't see all of the details. So in the last few years, I've just had it good enough. But when I take my camera back there and I'm looking, it's nothing that I would feel comfortable photographing. So I said I want to change that. And as you all know, I do a lot of things on the layout that the average person can't see. But because I know it's there, I want to make it right. And this is one such area. So I'm going to take the camera off of the tripod and I'm going to take it back into the cut, and I'll show you what kinds of things I'd like to have accomplished, or at least get started before the event. All right, so here I am after burrowing myself through here to get back here to the cut. And first thing you're going to notice is shadow, and that's because not a lot of light is back here. The lighting in this section of the layout is pretty bad, which is why I haven't put much effort back here. But the first project that I'm going to start with, if you can see the underside of the arches in both tunnels, you can see the blue wall coming down through, which is just enough to get under my skin. And there's a reason for that. When I first placed these portals in place, they were sitting right on the benchwork. But for various different reasons, I had to move them up it's probably about a half an inch up, which because of that move exposed the actual wall. So I got to trim that back some so you don't see that peeking through. So that's going to be a pretty simple project, but have big results as far as my eye is concerned. All right, here is the track to nowhere. And prior to now, I was considering putting some engine facility type equipment back here, but I think I'm going to just treat this as an interchange. But one thing that I didn't do is I had the track just ending with a wall back there, which kind of limited what I could use it as. So what I've thought about doing, and I'm still kind of in the air about it, but I think what I'm going to do, you see that tunnel portal sitting there, I think I'm going to put a curved piece of track there, and it'll act as the railroad going further in the distance, and it'll actually help with what's going on above too, blending that in a more natural way. Now, I'll have to trim that tunnel portal down a bit just to make it fit on the side, in the side of that hillside there. So we'll see how far I get with that. But that's definitely something I'm considering doing. All right, here's an area that I've already started. And what you see right now is a wing wall that has been added to the tunnel portal on the right, a little bit of that rock work that extends over to the overpass on the left, and of course the land behind the actual wing wall. And prior to that, there was this annoying piece of, I guess you would call it substructure to what's above, that was sticking out, and it was just a vertical piece. And there was a big gap that just showed the edge of the overpass, and it looked very unnatural. But of course, from out in the main part of the layout, no one can see it. But when I get back here, yep, you guessed it, I know it's there. So I had to do something about it. So I started this the other night, and of course I've got some work to do to make it look nice. And last but not certainly least is going to be the biggest part of this project is this hillside here. Now, when I did it, I thought, man, this was a lot of work for this area of the layout. You can see this intricate wall that I built as well, and I really do like. It was just to make things look pretty neat and kept. But once again, with some of the other work that I'm doing, I want to rip this out and make it a little better. I think that my skill set has gotten better, and I want to do something different. Of course, I'm going to have to start by taking out all of these trees, but I just think I want to make it look a little bit more natural. Like right here, you see vertical hillside, and you see all this growth and grass here. Grass does not grow vertically. So me knowing that and having that here, I could easily just put a rock there and that might make a difference. But I think I'm just going to do a little bit more. I have some ideas, but I'll start with clearing these trees out so I can see exactly what I want to do a little better. And we'll see how this transforms. All right, well, I still got a bit of light here. Just wanted to show you what I have so far. Some stacked foam. And getting it to this point was a royal mess between the pink foam and the white foam. The vacuum cleaner got a workout and will get one. But I think I've got the shape that I want. So now it's a matter of contouring and making this look natural as I can. Even got the tunnel going here. So I'm gonna get to cutting. All right, so I got the plaster cloth in this section here. And then across the tunnel, I've contoured the foam and also got the plaster cloth in here as well. I added a wing wall on this side of the tunnel. The tunnel at this point is still removable because I want to do some of the work on it at the workbench without having to work with very little light. And I also managed to salvage some of the retaining wall I had here originally, which was nice, and just tied it in to what we already have. So progress is being made. All right, a while back I did a video where I showed making this embankment alongside the yard, and I really like it. Gives some scenic and landscaping possibilities. But one thing that I had to do early on was trim some of it back, of course, because some of my widest trains were running into it. So when I did that, I just cut them back and just left it alone, and all you saw was bare foam. So finally, I decided at this point in time, as another project, to go ahead and scrape some of that back and add a retaining wall. I could have very well just maybe threw some plaster or some Sculptamold there and just reshaped it, but what fun would that be? Wanted to provide a bit of an update here so you can kind of see the steps I'm taking to complete this project. So the first thing you'll notice in this shot is that I've added some Sculptamold And what I've done with that is added it to areas where there'll be more growth. And also what the Sculptamold does is it helps to prevent seeing that mesh from the plaster cloth, which is unsightly once you have scenery down. And I've also added brown paint to the Sculptamold, and the disclaimer behind that is once you do that, the Sculptamold tends to set faster. So I just add more water initially so I have a little bit more working time. Just don't want to see white Sculptamold afterwards that I'm going to have to go through and paint anyway. So lastly, what you see are the rock castings on the vertical surfaces. Excuse me. And I've already kind of went through and did some painting and some highlighting. And once the ground foam is actually down, I may come back and do a little bit more enhancement to bring it out more. But lastly, in this segment, I wanted to show that I did paint the retaining walls and the tunnel portal to make that consistent. And I think it's turned out pretty good. So I've got a ton of work still left, so I'm going to shut this camera down and I'll be back with another update. Also, I wanted to show you that I did get the retaining wall in here by the yard and put some Sculptamold between where I cut away on this little mound here, just to bridge that gap and make it smoother. So I just got to add some scenery. I probably am not going to add any seam dividers here. I'll probably just put some vines or something in all the sections that I had to create by cutting this thing up. But we'll try to make it as natural as we can. Another area back here that I've been concerned about is the back wall there where you see blue. I guess technically it would be okay, but I just trying to figure out if I can do something back there. There's probably about 4.5, 5 inches of space between the tracks and the wall there. I don't know if a building would look right there. Probably not. Wouldn't be to scale unless it was just a little shed or something like that. But I don't know. You've got to see. I wanted to show that I have started painting those Limax mountains that I showed at the end of the last segment. See if we can't utilize these against that back wall. More to come.